Boom! Alright, guys. This is emphasis from Ravens Over Everything. I was not gonna put out this video. I tried to not put out this video. I really tried. Like, I recorded like this clip right here is actually like an updated clip from like a few days later. I put it out because I was trying to just move on and ignore PFF's stupid list. But I've noticed that a lot of other people in the Ravens flock, they keep covering it, so I gotta get into it. Look, at the end of the day, these guys at PFF doubled down on that terrible take. You got a top 50 players list, and you're not gonna put Lamar Jackson in it, the greatest offensive weapon in the league. It doesn't make the slightest bit of sense, and that's not being biased. That's reality, dog. I don't know anybody who's more of a weapon. And there's some great players on that list, but that list doesn't make sense. They're just not big Lamar guys, man. When they get an opportunity to slight him, they'll take it, you know? Not to say that they're terrible people necessarily, but, you know, like I said, I don't take their list seriously, man. These lists that I'm seeing for them, like, they're a joke, bro. Like, come on, man. I'm looking at that list. I only counted about two or three MVPs on that list. And you're not gonna feature a guy who is only one of 2 unanimous MVPs ever? Don't even make the slightest bit of sense, man. Not even the slightest bit of sense, man. You got Dak Prescott on that list, and I like Dak Prescott. I understand that before he got injured last year, he was on pace to have a career year, but at the end of the day, he got injured. His leg snapped in half, bro. I watched it. You watched it. We all watched it. His leg snapped. It snapped, bro. Regardless of the sport, when athletes have an injury that daggone gruesome and that painful and that traumatic, very rarely do those players come back the next season and play at a high level. That is just very unlikely. You talk about a dude basically having a piece of his leg just snapped in half, bro. And you think the very next season he's gonna come back and just ball out? Now, hey, maybe he defies my expectations, and he just actually does. But it's just unlikely, man. It's just unlikely, man. He needs a little bit more time to get back in his groove, to get back in his rhythm. That doesn't mean he can't have a great season, but to double down and say that he's gonna have a better season than Lamar, and say that, oh, it's debatable if he'll have a better season than him, that doesn't make the slightest bit of sense. I already did a video about this when they ranked their top quarterbacks, and they had Dak over Lamar, where I already made this same point, and that point still stands. It doesn't make the slightest bit of sense to have him there. And then they also had Josh Allen in that list too, over Lamar. And again, I like Josh Allen because, you know, all these players are nice. I'm not discrediting their abilities and their potential and what I think they're gonna do. But again, Josh Allen, you're saying you're basing it, you're projecting. When you're doubling down, you're saying you're basing this list off of projections. I understand what you're trying to do, but at the same time, Lamar's already played at a high level for 2.5 seasons as a starter. He's already played at a high level as a starter for 2.5 seasons. Josh Allen just had his first elite season so far, and they got drafted the same year. And it's abundantly clear that the key to him having this ascension to being in the elite class is due to the fact that they went out and got him Stephon Diggs. And just saying that it's debatable that Lamar can have a better season than him. Yes, Lamar doesn't have the same type of weapons that could add up to a Stephon Diggs, but at the same time, that doesn't mean Lamar can't go out there and outperform them.
I put emphasis on it.
Clearly, he's already shown that he can. Like, he's been given not the best weapons, and he's still already had a year where he's led the league in touchdowns. He still has had a year where he was unanimously chosen as the best player in the league. The youngest MVP ever. Again, when I looked at that list, I'm gonna double check, because when I looked at that list, it was like, dude, it was like I could only count like 2 or 3 MVPs on that list. I saw Patrick Mahomes, I saw Tom Brady, and I saw Aaron Rodgers. I don't think there's any other MVP on this list. If there is, let me know in the comment section, because I'm not spotting them off the top of I'm not spotting them, at least like none that comes to my memory off the top of my head. So you're not gonna put somebody who is only 1 season removed from an MVP, you're not gonna put him in a top 50 list? Are you kidding me? When it is very likely that this coming off season, or not this coming off season, but maybe next off season, anytime between now and next off season, he's probably going to be one of the highest, if not the highest paid QB in the league. You're not gonna consider him and say, oh, it's debatable if you said it's debatable if he'll have a better season than the other 6 quarterbacks. Dude, it's debatable if Aaron Rodgers is even gonna play next season, man. And don't get me wrong, Aaron Rodgers is amazing. I think he is one of the greatest ever. I think he's better than Tom Brady in my opinion, even though he doesn't have the amount of rings. But at the same time, you see what's happening with Aaron Rodgers. He's having a fallout with the Green Bay Packers, and people are speculating that he might not even play next year, or they're trying to get rid of him, or there's question marks as to if he's even gonna play next year or play with the Packers next year. I think he will, but still, at the end of the day, there's question marks as to if it's gonna happen. That's debatable. To say that Lamar, somebody who it's regardless of how I feel about some of the shortcomings of the Ravens offense, he is locked in as the franchise quarterback. No level-headed human being is gonna question that. Whereas with the Packers, there's question marks as to if Aaron Rodgers is even gonna come back and play. And the same thing applies with Russell Wilson, where it's just like throughout this whole offseason there was even question marks, and it was actually debatable if Russell Wilson was even gonna play for the Seahawks this season. There was rumors saying he's about to go to the Saints, he's about to go to the Bears, and all this other stuff. Obviously that didn't work out. I still think he's gonna play for the Seahawks, obviously, but there's still question marks as to if he's gonna play. There's still, which he will, but people are still, speculating that he might not, even though it's like very likely he will. That's debatable. But to say, oh, it's debatable that Lamar is gonna have a better season than him, and that's why he's not on the list, I think that's a weak excuse to not put Lamar on this list. When you got guys ahead of him on this list who are just coming back from catastrophic injuries, you got guys ahead of him on this list who threw their offensive linemen under the bus by complaining that they weren't protecting him and attempting to get traded. Look, man, I'm not saying the offensive line for the Seahawks is gonna, throw Russell under the bus next season and not protect him, but you never know, man. You never know. He might get beat down next year, man. They might just completely abandon him. Probably won't, because then they would lose their jobs, but you never know, man. You never know. So I don't understand how they could say something so silly. Again, there are not 50 players in this league who are better than Lamar Jackson, though. There are not 50 players in this league who are more dangerous weapons than Lamar Jackson. Those do not exist, dog. There are not 50 players in this league as it stands right now who can compete with Lamar Jackson. That's silly. That is silly. And their excuse for not putting him on that list, talking about it's debatable if he'll outperform the other 6 QB, that is also silly, dog. With all due respect to Russell Wilson, because he's an amazing player, he's gonna be a Hall of Famer one day. Russell still didn't get an MVP yet. Lamar Jackson in his first full season as a starter outplayed Russell Wilson and got an MVP. He outplayed every quarterback and got an MVP. So, and then there was another list where they had John Harbaugh as the second best coach in the league. Look, second best, I don't know about that. Top 5, top 10, that's fair. I would put John in the top 5, top 10. And again, this is me being objective. Contrary to what a lot of people might think, I try to be objective with a lot of Ravens opinions, even though I'm very biased. So objectively speaking, I wouldn't put John Harbaugh as the number 2 coach in the league. Maybe top 5 to top 10, but I would say 2. But either way, I don't understand what's the logic behind these lists. And part of me also almost thinks that they put John Harbaugh pretty high on that coach list as another way of taking a dig at Lamar and saying that he is more of a beneficiary of the system than the other way around, which anybody who's watched even one full Ravens game knows that is not how this is. Lamar is the system. You've seen the proof in the pudding. Anytime Lamar was taken out of the game, a lot of times the team was barely holding their own and staying above water. The Browns game was a perfect example of that. Lamar leaves, even in a game like that where in the beginning he didn't throw a whole lot, he still did an excellent job of helping play his role in controlling the tempo. And he came in clutch when necessary with his arm, the same arm people want to pretend he doesn't have. He left the game. When he left the game, they was up 2 scores. Blink of an eye, that lead is gone, and now they're trailing. He comes back in on a 4th and 5 play and basically wins the game. There was another play after that where the Browns scored, and then after that, he led them back down the field so Justin Tucker could hit a field goal. Compare them to the Chiefs again, which of course we're gonna do because it's Lamar and Patrick Mahomes. We're gonna compare them because Patrick value is sky high. With him, they're easily, this next season they'll probably win like 14 to 15 games. Without him, they'll probably win about 10, which is still great, but it's not the same. But again, this is not meant to bring down Patrick, but again, that's just to make a point of what Lamar is, dog. With Lamar, I believe we're winning 13 games this coming season. Without Lamar, dude, we can't win 6. And I've been saying this ever since Lamar came into the mix. Without Lamar last season, we would have won like 5 games. Without Lamar the year before, we would have won maybe like 8 or 9 games. Without Lamar in his rookie season taking over when Joe Flacco got injured, we were not going to win more than 6 games. There's no way. So anyway, man, I kind of rambled on. I didn't mean to ramble on this long. I had a whole nother video where I was ranting and I was kind of pissed. I was kind of mad. But, because this video ended up being so long now, I think I'm going to just make this video the one I upload. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. Do you guys think PFF got it right when they left Lamar off the top 50 list, or do you think they're crazy, or you're in between? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below, and make sure you guys like and subscribe.